Started. Welcome to Georgia Tech's press conference. Georgia Tech's sports information contact is Liz Ryan. Joining us on the podium later will be head coach Nell Fortner, and we have student athletes Sarah Bates and Lorella Kubai.
Yeah, that's good.
As a reminder, please state your name and affiliation at the beginning of your question, and please limit yourself to one question and at most one follow-up. If you're on the Zoom call and have a question, please use the raise hand tool and I will call on you and unmute you. We will start with the questions for the student athletes.
John Reed, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. For Lorella, I mean, looking at Kansas from the outside looking in, looks like they got a good tandem guards and a good big girl. Are you going to get the big girl, and what do you think of that kind of philosophy of what I just said? I mean, as far as what you guys got to stop.
I think Kansas is a really good team. I guess we pretty much match up well with them. Of course, Nerea Hermosa is going to have the big girl first. Yeah, I mean, I think we match up pretty well, and I think it's going to be a really good game. Can't wait to play. Really thankful for the opportunity. So.
Hi, ladies. Janie McCauley from the Associated Press. Welcome to the Bay Area. Hope you're having a good time so far. Stanford last year was one of the teams that was outspoken about the equity of the men's and women's tournament. And have you noticed anything already just in your travels to get here, and whether it's the March Madness sign or anything that shows that, you know, it's going to be better and change is on the way for the women's tournament to be on equal ground? And how much do you appreciate some of the teams that spoke out last year in doing so?
Definitely, I think we really appreciate, of course, the progress that has been done in order to make us equal as the men's counterpart. And of course, we can also see, like, it's just like the little things, like just like the name March Madness. And we just like are really thankful especially for the teams that last year spoke and like made a big impact on the issue. And we definitely can see the little changes that are gonna make us like progress every single year. And hopefully it just keeps getting better and better.
What are some of those little changes? And Sarah, have you peeked in on, the swag bag or any of the facilities here are beautiful, as you've probably known before coming here, but anything that you've seen already, I guess?
For me, the biggest thing was being March Madness, because you always want to be a part of March Madness, and as like women, they've never said that it was March Madness, and so finally being a part of that like bracket and being able to do that, I think is what's the biggest thing in my eyes. But just in general, I mean, we're here to play basketball, and we just want equal opportunities. And I think, especially going to the hotel and being around Georgia Tech, they did a great job of just welcoming us here to the Bay and showing us that we're here for a basketball tournament and for a chance to win a tourney.
We're going to take a question on Zoom real quick. So, Rod, if you could unmute yourself, you should be able to ask your question.
Hey, Sarah and Lorella, first of all, I'm happy you guys get another chance to make it to the postseason. That's really great. And I know you guys may have been a little worn down towards the end of the season as far as minutes played, that type of thing. How are you feeling right now?
I feel great, actually, and I think we all feel just great and excited to play. It's a new season, and we're not worried about being tired. We're just worried about going out and competing, and I just think we have a really great shot of showing like what we're capable of, and I'm excited to start this with my girls.
Definitely the same. I think she said everything that I had in my mind, so yeah.
Sarah, I apologize. I'm not connected to the internet right now to know how many three-pointers you made this season, but Tara Vanderveer just sat up here an hour ago and said she would pledge $10 for every three-pointer made in the women's tournament to humanitarian efforts in the Ukraine. And that's a big, she's hoping it catches on through the women's tournament, through the men's tournament. Maybe you two might have a thought on that. I mean, this is the platform you have as basketball players for change and good thing.
For me, my job is to be a shooter and to make as many threes as possible, so I'm planning on doing that anyways. But if it's to help the efforts in Ukraine as well, that's just another motivation and to make more threes, and I think that's awesome what she's doing, and I hope other people are on board and willing to shoot more threes so we can get more money out there.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful initiative. It's really like, as basketball player, we have, and just in general basketball teams, we need to just bring awareness to the issues that's going on in the world right now, and we have a really big one right in front of our eyes. And just the fact that she came, like the Stanford coach came up with this initiative, I think it's beautiful, and I hope as many teams and just catch up on that.
Ms. Bates, you got 4 players in double figures average. Does that give you guys an advantage that you got a balanced offense?
I think it does, and I think we just have a lot of great players on our team that can do a lot of different things, and I think when we play to our full potential, that's pretty hard to guard, and I think as a team, we just need to focus in on what we do best and go towards those things, and we have people who can shoot, we have people who can drive, we have posts who are some of the best posts in the country, so I just think if we stick to what we do best, then we should be fine.
We're going to go back to Zoom for the next question. Rod, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, last year, I'm sure you think back to the run you all made in the tournament, and that must give you guys some confidence going into this tournament, knowing that you have pretty much the same group, maybe with one subtraction, one addition, that type of thing. How confident are you guys moving into this tournament?
I think we are pretty confident. At the end of the day, it was a pretty challenging year for us as well, but I think we just came up with like solutions, and everybody who needed to step up like pretty much stepped up. So I just think that right now is all about us, and it's all about like playing together, and I just feel like we can do it. I'm pretty confident in that, and I hope like everybody's confident in that. So yeah.
I am.
The win over UConn, huge, even though they didn't have Bukers, but still it was at home, and must have been a great feeling. Does that give you confidence kind of going into this tourney?
Pretty much, yes. It was like a huge confident boosters, especially back in December. That's what I think kind of like helped us take off with the season, and we just gotta like just learn from every single thing and every single game that we played, and just give it all. And of course, like it was a really big game. It gave us a huge confidence. We just gotta go out and play.
I agree. I think we've had a couple of challenging games this season, and we've had some good wins. And every team goes through, an up and down throughout the season. But we've played our best basketball this year, and I really think that if we just go out and play like we know how to play, that we can really make a big run in this tournament. And everyone's seen what we can do. I mean, we were ranked 11 for a while, and we were ranked in the top 25 even after some losses, and people know our potential, and we know exactly what we can do, and we're just going to go out there and do it.
Hi, ladies, Janie again. Sarah, to go back to what Coach Vanderveer, her pledge, Coach Fortner actually was traveling with Tara Vanderveer in 95, 96 when they played the Ukraine team 10 times, and they considered that team cousins. Will you encourage your coach to join in on this campaign with Tara if she hasn't already talked to Tara about it?
Yeah, I would definitely encourage it, and I know Coach Nell's an amazing person inside and out, and I know that whatever decision she makes about moving forward with these kind of things would be, for the best. And I just know that she's usually willing to back up important people on things like this, and I'm sure she would be willing to do something like that with Tara.
I agree. I mean, I just feel like she's going to like definitely speak on issues. I feel like also last year she was really vocal. I mean, it was still an issue, like, you know, the March Madness and like inequality that we had last year. She was pretty vocal, and I'm 100% sure that she will definitely like join the Stanford coach and, you know, bring the initiative to life, I guess. Of course.
We have one more question from Rod on Zoom. Rod, you can ask your question.
Lorella, you and Hermosa have been pretty successful running the high-low throughout the year. I imagine that's something you guys are looking to get going coming into this game.
Definitely, I think it probably is one of our like best, I guess, weapons, if I can call it like that. But yeah, pretty much like we are trying to, of course, use that as much as we can, and I think it has worked pretty well throughout the year, and we will see.
I think it'll work out. Lo's one of the best players in the country, and Nerea also, so I think it'll be great.
Any final questions for the student athletes? Well, thank you, Sarah and Lorella. We'll take
Thank
questions
you.
from Coach Fortner in a couple of minutes when she joins us, but thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hey, how's it going? All right, we'll now take questions for Coach Fortner. As a reminder, please state your name and affiliation at the beginning of your question.
John Reed, AJC. Can you estimate how many times you've been at Maples as a broadcaster or a coach, et cetera? And the quick follow-up is, what do you think about the venue?
Oh, well, answer that part first. I love the venue. Have always been impressed with it. The floor is really super nice. Athletes love the floor. It's kind of bouncy, so good for the legs. But yeah, it's a really nice venue. It's an iconic venue. And I don't know how many times I've been here. I've been here many times practicing with the national team, whether I was an assistant with Tara or whether we brought our team when I was the head coach of the national team. I was thinking about this. The last time I was in this venue was, I'm not sure the year. It could have been 17 or 18, calling a volleyball match with Paul Sunderland. And took a picture with Tara and Amy while I was here. They were at the game and at the match, and I think that was the last time I was here. Yep.
Now, Janie McCauley from the Associated Press. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Tara was up here an hour ago and was reflecting on your time in Ukraine together and how Jennifer Azzi emptied her bags for those fans, and how you considered the Ukrainian national team your cousins after 10 matchups or whatever.
Yeah.
And Tara just pledged $10 for every three-pointer made in the women's tournament to efforts over there. Have you seen her yet? Have you talked to her? Are you going to jump right in on this and maybe reflect a little bit on your time over there?
I have not seen Tara yet. I know I will maybe later today. But I just heard about that on the bus ride over. Someone handed me a phone and showed it what they had put on Twitter. So absolutely, I will jump on that. There's not a doubt. There's no question about it. And right when I read it, I said, I'm in. So yes, I'm in on that. Absolutely. That was a phenomenal trip over there. And it was an eye-opening trip in a lot of ways. There was several stories that I could go into. We don't have enough time, but it was really an interesting trip, an educational trip, along with a good basketball trip. I'm in.
John Reed again. Lorella Kubaj, is that how you say it?
Kubai,
Kubai,
yeah.
two-time ACC Defensive Player of the Year. What makes her such a great defender?
Yeah. Lowe is a 6'4", high motor, athletic basketball player. And high motor at 6'4" is not the norm, you know, but she has a motor like a 5'7" point guard. And so that changes how she does things. It changes the player that has become. She is the hardest working player on the floor. She's got energy for the entire practice and has it in the game. And she's just energy-wise unlike any player, really, I think I've ever coached. I've coached a lot of really good players. But it's the energy part of that, the high motor part of that is difference-making for her along with her athleticism.
We'll take our next question from Zoom. Rod, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hey, Nell, it's Rod.
Hey, Rod.
Good to be with you. You guys had a little bit of time off, I imagine, after the ACCT. When they came back to practice, did you notice them maybe a little more refreshed than how they finished the season?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you get a few days off and you get to regroup and just kind of be a normal college kid and just kind of catch your breath and recharge your battery a little bit, it's absolutely difference-making. And I think to refocus a little bit, because now you're going into a new season, and it's one that's exciting. It's one that's extremely fun and challenging, and this is a team that now is going to their second NCAA tournament. So, you know, it's just, it's an opportunity for them to see, you know, what they can do in this tournament, what we can do, and they're excited about it.
Yeah, Kansas has shot 667 free throws. You've shot 441.
Yeah.
So how do you want to see this game officiated, or is that going to be key, or you just don't want to put them to the line a lot?
Yeah, we definitely don't want to put them to the line a lot. That's a real, they put a lot of, they present a big challenge in that regard because they like to get downhill. They like to score points in the paint the majority of the time. And so it puts a lot of pressure on your defense because, you know, whether that's one-on-one basketball, whether that's having to really negotiate a lot of screens to keep the ball out of the paint, it's hard. It's a really tough, tough offensive scheme to guard. So we're going to have to be really smart defenders and keep ourselves out of foul trouble and try to keep the ball out of the paint. So it'll be a tremendous challenge for us, but we'll be ready for it.
Now, how much did you appreciate some of the teams being outspoken a year ago on equity?
Mm-hmm.
And we see March Madness on the banner behind you. Have you noticed anything just in your short time so far? I know it's not been much, but
Yeah.
whether it was travel or how long, I don't know, switching planes or whatever it was to get here, are you noticing some changes already that might be a sign of good things to come?
The only change that I've noticed so far is the March Madness.
Okay.
You know, and it's something that over the years, even when I was doing television, I'm like, why aren't we saying March Madness? Why don't we have it in the background? What is the deal? And it was like something that was never really explained to us. It just didn't happen. So it's so exciting to finally see it associated with our tournament too. But that's the only thing I've seen so far. I haven't experienced anything else different.
When you get here, are the goodie bags, swag bags, are they waiting at the hotel for the players or in the arena? How does that work exactly?
I haven't seen any swag bags. Okay, we just haven't gotten them yet. So I have not seen what that looks like.
Okay.
So that might be different than it was last year. I just don't know.
I'll check back with you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We're going to go to Zoom again for our next question. Rod, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Nell, now that your team has had a little time off, coming back with some renewed energy, do you think everyone's going to see a team that's better than where you were seated?
Well, I sure hope so, Rod. That's the hope. And that's what we're striving for. I think that this team, you know, when the tournament starts, it's exciting. Everybody's excited to be in the tournament. You're wanting to put your best foot forward, and hopefully we've put our team in a position to put their best foot forward. We needed rest. We needed rejuvenation. We needed reps at doing certain things better, and that's what we did. So hopefully we'll see that come to fruition tomorrow night.
It looks like a storyline jumping out is the Lorella against their big girl. And is that one of the big keys? Who's going to win that battle, or are you going to double her, or what?
You know, I think you're going to see really good post players on the floor tomorrow night. They have 6'6", 6'3". We have 6'5", 6'4". I mean, it's going to be a really interesting battle. And I think it is going to be interesting to see how it's officiated. You know, we're probably going to see 3 officials that have not officiated us all year long, and they probably haven't officiated Kansas all year long. So it'll be interesting to see how the game starts and what it's going to play out to be. But I think you're going to see some really good play inside, around the rim. I think you're going to see some good play by big kids away from the rim. So, you know, the game of women's basketball is evolving, and we are different than we were 10 years ago. And you're going to see that versatility, I think, tomorrow.
Now, what were your observations of Stanford's run a year ago? And just, they were not even on this campus for nearly 10 weeks. And the lights went out at a practice down near Santa Cruz. And just what that maybe does for a team going into the next season. 2 wins by a point each to win the title.
Yeah, incredible. That was really incredible. You know, I have so much respect for Tara and how she runs her program and how she develops her players and gets the job done here at Stanford year in and year out. So I'm not surprised in that regard, especially when you start breaking down their players. Haley Jones is absolutely one of my favorite players in the women's game. She's just so versatile, and you can do so much through her. You can run it to her or run it through her, and she's such a difference maker on the floor. And I thought she was out in full force last year in the NCAA tournament. And then they've got great height and the ability to stretch the floor at all 5 spots. So very difficult team to guard, and they run their offense very well. They're efficient. And Tara's probably just a master at offensive ingenuity. So I'm not surprised at what they did, and I think they just, you know, the COVID year was interesting in the fact that everyone was forced to stay in a bubble, and so it forced probably stronger team chemistry. It forced, you know, just the overall togetherness and bonding of a team all year long, and I think everybody probably reaped benefits. We did. We reap benefits from it, and so in the long term, you know, it benefited them and a lot of other teams too. So I'm not surprised at their run.
We'll go back to Rod on Zoom. Rod, you can ask your question.
Yeah, Nell, you talked about the front court players, 6'4", 6'5", with Nera and Lorella. A third front court player that you have is Stratman. She's had some ups and downs during the season. I imagine you probably feel she may be one of the keys for this game.
Absolutely. She's such a versatile player because she can stretch the floor. We're fortunate right now that we've got more players that we can stretch the floor with. But Diggy also is she's versatile from at the rim and out to the three-point line. So we can use her in a variety of ways. And so she's important, very important to what we do offensively. You know, she had an injury in the middle of the season. Took her a little while to come back from it. We kind of hit a rough spot while she wasn't on the floor. But she's back in full force right now, and we're happy about that.
Just a shot in the dark. Is there any player on your team who was not highly touted going into the year that has come up, you know, a long ways and really contributed heavily?
Yeah. You know, we've had players, a lot of players step up, and I think that probably maybe a couple of them stand out in my mind. And Alili Love, who is a Kansas native, you know, she's probably has a little extra motivation in her game right now. But she's really developed. We worked hard with her to develop her game and to make her a more versatile player, and she's really had a nice year. And then Sarah Bates, who is a California kid that is a really good, you know, three-point shooter, but she's proven that she can do more than just shoot the three. So I think those two players have given us a nice, you know, given us more depth and the ability to do a few more things on the floor.
All right, thank you, Coach Fortner.
right.
Georgia Tech practice will begin at 2:50. The court will be open to members of the media for the first 15 minutes of practice, after which the court will be cleared and practice closed. A recording of this